looking at a bird's eye view of Corpus Christi, Texas, Padre Island. Very scenic there. And thanks once again to Greg Payne for that great footage. Let's take a look at the surface map for this afternoon. Well, what we see here is some cold air invading the northwestern U.S., some outgoing cool air in the Great Lakes area, and a lot of downslope flow in the Central Plains, dry line pushing out into central South Dakota, central Kansas. However, a lot of moisture making it into West Texas and Arizona, and that's supporting an early season monsoon in that region. You can see that Phoenix is reporting a dew point of 60 degrees. Down there in Texas, a weak front has traversed that region. Little disturbance off the Texas coast, producing some showers and storms. Up in the Midwest regions, you can see the dew points are fairly dry. Often this time of year, they trend upwards towards 70 degrees, 75, and on rare occasions, even 80. So with dew points in the 50s and even the low 50s, that's some fairly dry air that's come down from Canada. And there's probably been some subsidence as well, transporting drier air from the mid-levels to the surface. There's the precipitable water anomaly we started out with this morning, band of very dry air from eastern Oklahoma up to Pennsylvania and off the New Jersey coast. Right there in Little Rock, precipitable water of 0.43 inch. That is off the charts. Never seen it that low for this date, and that comes pretty close to the extremes for June. The stationary boundary in the southeastern U.S. responsible for numerous storms from South Carolina all the way back towards Louisiana. Going out west, yep, there's those monsoon storms. It's probably backed off a little bit compared to several days ago, but they are still going. And then further to the north, there's that cold air in Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. Taking a look up north, it is mild, temperatures rising up to about 70 degrees. This is still mid-morning in Yukon and Alaska, so we'll be getting a little bit warmer as the day goes on. Some of that cold air has made its way down from the eastern Arctic into central Canada, getting storms, showers, and a pretty strong cold front through the taiga area of Manitoba. There's an outgoing weather system in Newfoundland. It's been rather warm out in this region. Temperatures have come up to 80 degrees. It looks like we're reaching those levels once again this afternoon. Goose Bay coming up to 79 degrees at this hour. And this is surprising right there on the coast. Some rather warm conditions. I don't know what station that is, but 77 in that area is going to be pretty toasty. The 500 millibar chart does show some interesting developments. This is how it looked this morning. If we roll that forward to about July 3rd, July 4th, check out California. Very strong troughing. Polar front jet coming into that region. Height falls and looks like probably some unstable conditions, at least in the mid-levels. However, a rapid change coming up shortly afterwards. Watch the ridge build into that region. There it is. And the heights in Utah, starting to see some 597 decameter contours around the 8th. So that spells the potential for a heat wave, or at least some very dry conditions conducive to fire weather. You can see down in the Gulf, there's the other thing that we're watching. That's going to be a tropical storm, possible low-end hurricane, but this is going to be 160, 180 hours out, so I wouldn't worry too much about specifics, but you can see around the 240-hour point, it's trying to bring something into South Texas. So where did that come from? Well, here's potential tropical cyclone 2. We're not too worried about that. That's bringing a track. Let's see, where's that graphic? That's more into Nicaragua, and that'll cross over into the Pacific. However, that's not going to have much influence on the weather in the U.S. What's of more concern is this feature right here, which is tracking to the west. Here's how it looks on the GFS. This is going to be potential tropical cyclone number 2 heading out this way. The other one is further off the chart, but it comes into view in a few days. There's the moisture surge crossing the Windward Islands, moves out into the Caribbean. We're talking about, let's see, it's going to be about that area here. So we're coming up to Monday, Tuesday next week. Crossing Jamaica, that's that area of concern right here. And you're going to see a closed circulation come together near Cancun. Again, this is pretty far out. This is the 7th of July, so the track here is not really anything I would gamble on, but certainly some development possible in the Gulf of Mexico. That's subject to change. We're going to have to check out the models over the next week, and by around midweek next week, we should have a better idea what's going on with that. The Extreme Forecast Index from the ECMWF, that's a good way to look at interesting weather. You can see a lot of wind there in the northern plains and the northern Rockies. This is due to cyclogenesis in the Dakotas, and that's bringing downslope flow through Colorado and Wyoming and helping to bring up those temperatures through adiabatic warming. Very warm day in the deserts of the southwest and of the San Joaquin Valley. And you can see some precip off the Texas coast, little disturbance off of Houston and Corpus Christi. Going forward into tomorrow, that cyclogenesis in the Dakotas organizes, moves out into Ontario, bringing that frontal system with it, windy conditions in the Great Lakes region, and more of that downslope flow and dry air advection working into the Midwest region. For Friday, above normal conditions in the northeastern U.S., probably a front drape, something like that. For Saturday, things kind of return to normal across much of the country, but that trough will be working onto the west coast, below average temperatures in northern California, and those will spread into Nevada for about a day or two. And let's take a look at how the temperature records are looking. Valentine, Nebraska this afternoon coming up to 104, but that is not going to break any records. For tomorrow, everywhere is pretty much close to seasonal normals. Same thing for Friday, but don't let it fool you. There are going to be some warm temperatures in the northeast. There's the map on Saturday. No records, close to seasonal normals, and it's going to be that way all the way through Tuesday. So most of our attention will be fixated on the tropics, especially as we go into next week. And from SPC, not very much going on. Slight risk in the Dakotas with that frontal system that we talked about. The high-resolution rapid refresh shows the evolution of that convection, starting in the mountains of Wyoming, the higher terrain, and moving into central South Dakota and western Nebraska. So this brings us up to about 7 p.m. this evening. This definitely has the look of elevated storms. And they move off into Minnesota, but doesn't look like very much organization. I would suspect from this that a lot of the severe weather potential is going to be wind. Let's take a look at the soundings out ahead of this convection. And there you go. Inverted V. Lots of dry air in the low levels. Very warm conditions. So the LCLs are going to be quite high. The relative humidities quite low. And we'll grab one little parcel out from ahead of these storms at about 7 p.m. And looks like we picked up some convection, so we need to back that off a little bit. You have to be very careful how you pick these soundings out. This is more representative. Looks like some low-level moisture has infiltrated the air mass, but very shallow. Still, this is an inverted V. And let's just read through the convective outlook real quick. And there it is, hot surface temperatures over 100, wheel yield, inverted V profiles, substantial downdraft potential. Now this up here, eastern North Dakota, northern North Dakota, I didn't really catch that. They were saying forecast soundings show moderate Cape values sufficient vertical shear for supercell storms capable of large hail. I'm not too sure I'm seeing that moisture. Yeah, there is some moisture there. It's heading a little bit further north. The precipitation fields didn't really want to do much with that, but just looking at this, there's the moisture axis in through the Fargo region up to north of Bismarck. And it looks like it impinges on some sort of boundary right there. That's probably the front. So that region right there, that's where I would have some concern. Let's grab a sounding. It's going to be about 7 p.m. there. So yeah, definitely better moisture. Looks like some capping issues. Warm temperatures at about 750 millibars. And the photographs, yeah, those do look supportive of rotating storms. So let's go through that precip field one more time, see what's going on. That area there has the better supercell potential. And that's probably some of it right there. However, you can see that that's 03Z. That's going to be about 10 p.m. So, looks like a late show. And that's all for the Wednesday edition of Forecast Lab. Heading into the dog days of July, and I think we're going to officially be there this weekend. And we will see the increasing influence of tropical weather start to dominate the content in this video series, at least for a couple of months. Anyway, hope you have a great Wednesday evening. We'll see you back here on Friday. Take care. Bye-bye.